Statistics, as far as the baby boom generation and the gray wave of people coming and aging right now, is at crisis proportion. Our society is not set up or prepared for it, and in small places like the Methow Valley, we really don't know what that looks like. We're kind of isolated from it.
The 2010 census data shows that 17% of us are between 50 and 60. 16% of us are between 60 and 70. 8% are 70 to 80. And 5% are over 85. That means that 44% of us in the valley are above 50, and there's 57 folks in our valley that are older than 85.
Childhood, we all know what that means. Adulthood, we all pretty much know what that means. But a new term that I want you to understand is elderhood.
What elderhood is to me is it's people continuing to use all of the tools that they've acquired all of these years, their wisdom, their patience, their value systems, their morals, the ability to share really great life stories with other people.
When World War II started, I went overseas and started flying bombing missions, and the anti-aircraft was very heavy, and I can still see that those shells exploding and flying into it.
To be able to continue to enjoy life at a little slower pace. Oftentimes we see that as being aged and that it's a negative. But really, there's just so many gems inside of the ability to connect with people in elderhood and really mine out the great things that they have to share.
I got shot down, I think, 3 times and became a prisoner. There were a lot of Allied planes shot down, so there were a lot of prisoners in Germany and that area. And the French underground, if you got out of that concentration camp, they would help you get away from Germany, and wound up in Saragnola, Italy. And from there, got on a ship that had ex-prisoners and military people on it, and we came back to the U.S. on that ship. And what I distinctly remember is pulling into the harbor in New York and seeing the Statue of Liberty. We all had tears in our eyes.
It was 1998, and wanted to do something in our community to help our citizens and people in need. We discovered that there wasn't a food bank that was in operation. So we got together with some people and said, let's start a food bank, and I had some ideas. And those ideas were that it wouldn't just be a place to pass out food, but you'd actually come in, you'd actually have a meal, you'd sit down, and we get to know our neighbors in need by spending some time together. That began what, to me, was kind of a transformation of being isolated in my own little world, little groups that I went to getting to know the community at large, and especially people in need. As the Cove moved along, and we'd serve like 70 families a week with the food, and the volunteers built up the volunteer base. We got to know the people. That was the idea. You just didn't pass out food, but you got to know the people.
I get to know their background. It's part of what we do before they even come here, is find out who they have been in their life and what they've done and what their interests are.
We had a friend of ours, which is Jamie Finland, who was dying of cancer, and she'd come to me and said that she wanted to give in her will a portion of her estate to the Cove, and if we could develop a ministry that would help the people in need.
Traditional nursing care has been around probably 3 generations or so, and it was developed in order to best facilitate care for people who needed care in the most efficient way. Prior to the development of that model of traditional care, families really were the providers for their loved ones.
I realized that the area that seemed to be untapped in our community was the area of elder care, and especially people that needed a place to live. They had to travel a long ways to go to a nursing home, so this was an idea: can we possibly have a place that could keep our own elders right here in our valley?
My mother had an accident. She fractured her hip, and it was obvious that she wasn't going home. I spent the first 2 years running back and forth over the mountain at every little thing that came up, because I am involved in her life, and it wasn't enough for me to just hear it on the phone. I had to be there.
I went to this meeting. Dr. Bill Thomas was there, Eden Alternative. It was over in Seattle, and I'd never been to anything with elder care, geriatrics, but I went to the meetings and dropped in on what they call the greenhouse. And he said, this is going to be a development of small homes in rural communities that can actually develop their own personalities, and the elders will be treated with respect, and they have their own home. They'll cook right in the home. They'll smell the food. It's non-institutional.
It's not such a serious place, and that they can be themselves and open up. And it really doesn't take me long to get to know them and what they like to eat or drink, or their little habits, what they like beside them to read, or if they like to watch the TV, what channels they like.
The full care here is superior to anything that we experienced. We had 2 different adult family homes and an assisted living on the west side, and multiple nursing homes, of course. And the way this is set up here with private rooms and private bathrooms, and of course the addition of the lovely heated floors for those old bones. And
You don't come in to see one specific thing for one person. That person is a full person and you look at the whole person. And the engagement that I have as a nurse here is unlike anything I could have ever imagined. One of the aspects that I really appreciate about the greenhouse and about Jamie's place is that the elders come in, and our philosophy is that we help them live well. And we just, whatever that means to that individual person is what we do.
My father actually is a resident here, and yesterday was his 71st birthday, and he had gone out for breakfast with family members who had come to visit him for his birthday, and so he was extremely tired, had taken a nap, and in fact I thought he was going to miss his birthday because he was so tired. But one of the staff members who came to celebrate with him went in and laid down on his bed and talked to him until he woke up, and he woke up smiling and woke up ready for his birthday party. So we brought him out to the living room, and we served up cake and ice cream, and both houses had all elders attending the birthday party. And they were laughing, and we were talking and telling stories, and there were family members here, and there were friends here, and all these people. The greatest part of the story, though, is that one of the elders suggested a new tradition, and that tradition is that they kiss the birthday person. So she told me to start. So I gave my father a kiss on the cheek, followed by this elder who kissed him on the cheek, and then every woman in the room, including my uncle who kissed him on the forehead. And he had this smile that just radiated how awesome it was to be alive at that moment. And just the quality of life that just appeared in his eyes. What it does for me as a nurse is just to remind me that these people are humans, and they have feelings, and they have that desire to be touched, and they have the desire to be loved and cherished and just happy in that moment to be the center of attention. And for all the other elders to really participate fully and be able to say, isn't it a great day to be alive?
Just the family here of community members and my own family being close, couldn't be better. It just couldn't be better.
I heard a quote, and I heard it, I've used it so many times now it's mine, but that quote was that, show me a community where they care and respect and serve and honor their elders, and I'll show you a good place to live.